Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going over my prediction for the Bengals season right now. Got this request from a viewer last week. I forget your name. I'm really excited to do this. Doing ENags versus the NFL last year was one of my favorite things to do. I could be a bunch of edits in this, nothing too crazy. But yeah, I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to predict money line and spread for the whole season. These are all offered from ESPN. I'm using the app, just kind of what they have here. And so all of these odds are as of August 5th, so this obviously isn't going to take account any injuries. Obviously, if someone like Joe Burrow goes down, the whole season's kind of screwed anyway, so it doesn't, these predictions are kind of null and void. Without further ado, let's kind of hop into it. I'm excited for this. Let me know what you guys think, what you like, what you disagree with. Just let me know. Week 1, Cincinnati Bengals open up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bengals are 6.5-point favorites. I really do like the Bengals in this matchup. I do think the Steelers are going to get up for it, though. I think Steelers defense is really good. I think it's going to be solid this year. It's just the offense. I don't really know what you're going to expect. I don't know who they're going to start. I mean, reports have been that Mason Rudolph has looked the best out of all of them, and then Mitch next, and Kenny Pickett really hasn't looked great, so that's kind of alarming to me. The receiving core is interesting to me. I think Deontay Johnson's solid. I think Chase Claypool can be good, and I think George Pickens, from Georgia, has really good potential. So I think the pieces are there, just depends on if they kind of put it together. But I do think the Bengals win this game. I do think the Steelers cover, though. I think they keep it close. I think maybe there's a defensive touchdown for the Steelers. So I think the Bengals win, but the Steelers will cover the 6.5. Next week, the Bengals go to Dallas to face the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 2.5-point favorites. This I'm a little surprised by. I am not high on the Cowboys. I think that might just be me. I don't know a lot of people who really are. I just don't think their offense is that good. I think their defense has potential again. I like Trayvon Diggs, not like a lot of people, but also Micah Parsons is a problem. But that offense just doesn't do a lot for me. Their offensive line keeps getting worse year after year, and I don't think Zeke's that guy. I think Tony Pollard's still really good, so I think he has potential. But the receivers, I'm not super high on. They just lost Amari Cooper, and I'm pretty sure they just lost somebody for 8 weeks. I forget who it was. But yeah, I'm just not super high on the Cowboys. I think the Bengals win and cover this one. They cover the 2.5, and then they win, obviously. But yeah, I'm not high on the Cowboys. They could be out of touch there, but I think the Bengals win and cover this game. Next week, the Bengals go to New York. They play the Jets. I think the Bengals are terrified of Mike White showing up. If I'm the Jets, I'm signing Mike White. I'm letting him play against the Bengals because that guy was our kryptonite. He had an incredible game, played so well. But they don't have him that year. It's going to be Zach Wilson with a newly reformed offense. They've got CJ Uzomah from the Bengals. They just have a lot of weapons. I think Elijah Moore's due for a breakout season. They got Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, so I think that's going to be a good matchup for them. Their defense is good. They've got Sauce Gardner. They have that edge rusher from Florida State, I believe. I think it was Jermaine Johnson. I could be wrong, but I think the Jets are going to be good. I just don't think this early in the season they're going to be good. I think their defense has a lot of potential, especially with Saleh and having a little more time in the scheme. I think their offense could take a while to click. This is going to be this could be a season where Zach Wilson takes a jump and you see his production go up. But I think the Bengals win and cover this one. It is the Jets after all. They're going to have to prove to me. This could be one that maybe after week 1 and 2, it's a bit of a closer game. I bet the spread might move a little bit. 4.5 is a lot of points, especially for being the away team. So I don't know. That'll be an interesting one. But my prediction right now, Bengals win and cover that game. The next game, week 4, prime time. The Bengals versus the Dolphins. Dolphins come to Cincinnati. I am excited for this. This is where they're going to be the new white helmets. They will be facing the Tyreek Hill new receiving core with Jalen Waddle and him, so that's going to be electric. I don't really believe in Tua personally, and I think the Dolphins' defense is pretty solid. They've been pretty solid the last few years. They're not really going to get beat on that. They've got Holland at safety, then I know they have Xavier Howard, who's always really good. So I don't know. This game to me, I feel like it's so biased, but I think the Bengals do win this game. They're at home. They come off a week with the Jets, where I'm assuming they're not going to be not too strained, because that's a bad word, because every NFL game is hard. But yeah, the Dolphins are coming off a game against the Bills. Short week for both teams. So I do think the Bengals want to cover this one. They're probably playing a little bit easier of the game, and they are favored by 4, so I'm going to take the Bengals to win and cover. The next game, the Bengals go to Baltimore. Baltimore are minus 2.5-point favorites. Sunday Night Football, going to be an incredible game. It's going to be electric. But here, a game that I think people are going to be surprised at. I'm just kidding. I think The Bengals dropped this game against the Ravens. I think the Bengals are likely to split most teams in the division. That's kind of to me why I haven't understood people being so low on the Bengals. I think the AFC North is incredibly talented. They do have a tougher schedule, of course, but to me, I just think they're going to split. So I think the Ravens win this one at home, and then the Bengals play them the last week of the season. So that's really a toss-up because both of these teams could win the division. So I don't really know if they're going to be playing for anything that late, but I think the Ravens win and cover this one. The next game, the Bengals travel to New Orleans, which is a game I might be going to, but the Bengals at Saints. The Bengals are 1-point favorites right now, which is a little surprising to me just because we're not really sure what this offense is going to be for the Saints. Jameis is going to be back. They just got Olave. I'm pretty sure Jarvis is there. Michael Thomas is back. Alvin Kamara, I think, is awaiting a suspension, like what they're going to give him. So the offense definitely has potential. They have a ton of potential. I know they lost Armstead. Oh my gosh, he's on the Dolphins. I forgot about that. So I think the Dolphins I'm kidding. But yeah, the defense is always kind of solid for them. They just lost Marcus Williams. That's going to be big. They still have Marshawn. They still have like Demario Davis. Still got Cameron Jordan. So I don't know. This one to me, I'm not sure if I'm going to buy into the Jameis hype. I feel like that receiver room has a lot of potential. Are they going to live up to it? It's going to be interesting to see if Michael Thomas gets banged up again. What can Jarvis do? And then kind of Olave coming into that third receiver role. It'll be interesting, but I think the Bengals are going to win and cover this. It's 1 point, so it's pretty much a pick 'em at this point. But I think the Bengals win and cover against the Saints. The next game, the Bengals play the Dirty Bird Atlanta Falcons, who a lot of people are saying is arguably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I think it's between them and the Bears. And to me, I think the Bears are going to be the worst. I think the Falcons have some really interesting things. AJ Terrell, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Kyle Pitts, obviously. I forget who they just drafted at receiver. I'm drawing a huge blank. I got to look him up. Drake London, that's who it is. Calvin Ridley, obviously gone for the year for gambling, so that kind of sucks. But I think Drake London's going to have a big season. Bengals are 10-point favorites in this game, which is a lot, but I think the Bengals are going to win and cover this. I don't think the Falcons are going to be very good. I think that defense is still a ways away. I think they could be good, but in the near future, I don't think they're there right now. I think the Bengals win and cover. And then the Bengals play the Cleveland Browns on Halloween night, 8:15 on a Monday Night Football. You love to see it. The Browns are a huge question mark. You have no idea what's going to happen to Deshaun Watson right now. They just recently, if you're watching this super far in advance, or super far in the future, I should say, they just came back that the NFL is going to appeal the hearing of 6 games for Deshaun. So that's a huge question mark. I think the Browns' defense is really good. I think their offense might be getting a little blown out of proportion at this point. Amari Cooper is a good receiver. I don't think he's great. Nick Chubb and obviously Kareem Hunt are incredible. Their offensive line is good. That receiver room isn't very deep to me. So yeah, and especially when you have a guy like Jacoby Brissett, who's been a career backup, who's been a solid backup, I'm not sure how you're going to do playing him for a majority of the season. Defense, I think, is going to be fine. I think JOK is going to come a 2-new role. Myles Garrett, obviously a beast. Denzel Ward, obviously good. Cornerbacks are solid, while their safeties are also good, with John Johnson being the main one. This game is, I have no idea. They don't even have a spread for this, so I'm assuming they're not putting spreads out for these for Deshaun Watson reasons. So this is kind of a toss-up to me. So I'm going to use this as a pick 'em and no spread. I'm going to go under the assumption that Deshaun's going to get an indefinite suspension. So I'm going to say the Bengals win and cover this one as a pick 'em, but I could see this game being super defensive, a slugfest, and the Browns come out on top, even if Deshaun's not playing. So I'm going to say the Bengals win and cover with maybe the assumption Deshaun does not play. I've only had the Bengals lose one game so far. You guys are going to hate me. Like, this guy's so unrealistic. Yeah, sorry, guys. I think the Bengals are just going to be good. I think they're going to be good. They play the Panthers next week. Bengals are 7-point favorites. I think the Panthers' defense has a ton of potential. That offense, I don't love. Baker, if they play Baker, we haven't beat Baker yet, so maybe Baker beats us if they play him, but I think the Bengals wouldn't cover this game. The Panthers, I don't think they're going to be good. Their defense has a ton of potential. They've got a ton of young guys. I love Jeremy Chin at safety. I think they had JC Horn go down early next year. It's going to be really cool to see him get more starting reps, get more experience, see how he plays. And Brian Burns is always a freak of nature, so he's going to be great, but I just think the Bengals' firepower is a little too much for the Panthers to match up. The next game we have at the Pittsburgh Steelers, primetime game, Sunday Night Football. Bengals are minus 3-point favorites. This game, I'm going to pick the Steelers. I think at this point, you're probably more solidified in your role with the offense of who you're going to have as quarterback. They might have found their identity. I think Najee Harris is going to be the bell cow, really, and going to take a majority of the snaps, especially towards later in the season. And this defense, I really think, is going to round into force towards the back half of the season. And it's a divisional game. I think they're going to split it. As of this point, I really don't think the Bengals are probably going to go 8-1, I think is what I have them at this point. I don't think it's going to happen. They're probably going to drop one of these games, win one of the games I say they lose. So I'm going to pick the Steelers here to win and cover this game. The next game, the Bengals travel down to Nashville and play the Titans, who they played in the divisional round last year in the playoffs. No spread for this game too. I'm assuming it's going to be a pick 'em then, which is also weird. Don't love that. Titans are in a really interesting position with no A.J. Brown. Offense is still probably going to be good with Derrick Henry. I think he's the best pound for pound back in the league. I don't really know where Tannehill is at this point. That defense is legit. The Bengals found out last year with all the sacks, and I think that defense is only going to get better. I think it's very likely that the Bengals lose this game to the Titans, so I'm going to pick the Titans here. They're going to win and cover this game. I think that defense is legit. That offense gives me some question marks, but we'll see when it comes down to it. I think that's going to be a great game, one of the ones I'm really looking forward to this season, but I'm going to say the Titans win and cover. The next game, the Bengals play the Kansas City Chiefs, the team that the Bengals were down 21 points in the AFC Championship and in Week 7, 16, and they beat them both times coming back, which is pretty insane. The Chiefs go with a big loss, losing Tyreek Hill. Now it's Juju, Sky Moore, I know he's there. Mecole Hardman, Travis Kelce, obviously in company. The defense is interesting. I know Bolton, their linebacker, is really good. Chris Jones, obviously a stud. They don't have Tyrann Mathieu in the safety anymore. Corners, interesting. I didn't really think that was a huge favorable matchup for them last year. The Chiefs are 1-point favorites. This game's going to be a pick 'em pretty much. I think the Chiefs are going to win and cover this one. I think they're going to really get up for this game, and I think if the Bengals are as good as I'm predicting them, this could be a game where I think they slack off a little bit. So I think the Chiefs win and cover this. Bengals Browns is the next game, 1 o'clock game, home game for the Bengals. Again, with the Deshaun Watson thing, I'm going to say the Browns win this in a pick 'em too, just because maybe he's not suspended. I really don't know. So, but I do think it's likely they split the Browns. The Bengals just don't play the Browns super well, especially, I don't really know why, if we're being honest. They've played them with Baker and they've lost. It's super weird. I don't get it. But I'm going to say the Browns win this game, just basically on the path of, I could see the Bengals or Browns winning either game, if I'm being 100% honest. And I think that's likely how it's going to go for the Bengals this season with divisional game. This game has to be a pick 'em. There's no, it doesn't have to be, but there's no spread that they give in this. So I think it's likely a pick 'em. Bengals at Patriots. I think the Patriots are a fine team. I don't like that offense at all, really. I know they spent a bunch of money, but I just don't like the offense. Defense is always going to be fine under Bill Belichick. They're not going to get gashed. But I really think this team offers them some really tough matchups. They lost J.C. Jackson. That's going to be a huge loss. I think their front's pretty solid, but DBs, I'm not super sold on. I know Adrian Phillips kind of had a low-key season last year, but I think the Bengals win this one, especially to pick them. I'm picking them spread for sure, and then also money line. So I think the Bengals win in Foxborough. And then a super, super fun game. The Bengals Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. Primetime game, 8:30 Monday Night Football. Who doesn't love that? This is going to be an incredible game. Josh Allen and company coming to the jungle against Joe Burrow and everybody. What a fun game. I just love this based on the fact of how incredible the storylines are for it. I love it. Two teams likely competing in the playoffs too. I don't know. I think I'm going to get ballsy with this one. I like the way the Bengals match up against them, if I'm being 100% honest. I think Josh Allen definitely could take it to the next level this year and really propel that offense. I think their lack of running game could catch up to them in a game like this. I think it's going to be close, but since the Bengals are underdogs, it's not going to be a game where I think somebody's going to cover and the other team's going to win. I think the Bengals are going to win and cover this one. I just like the matchup. I think the Bills' defense is good. I don't think their front's as good as people think. I really think this is a game where Joe Mixon could shine, especially being so late in the season. This game's on the 2nd of the new year, so it's going to be July 2nd of 2023. Yeah, I really think this is going to be a Joe Mixon dominated game, bookmark it, but I think the Bengals win and cover this game against the Bills. And then the last game of the season, the Bengals will play the Ravens. They don't know the time yet, because I guess they want to flex the games if they need to. On January 8th, the Bengals are 3-point favorites at home against the Ravens. Again, I don't think this game is going to matter at all, because I think it's either going to be the Bengals or the Ravens winning the division. So to me, this game really doesn't matter. I picked the Ravens to win the first one, so I'm going to say the Bengals win this one. I think they split. Either way, I think the Bengals could win the one at M&T Bank, or the Ravens could win this one. So I'm going to take the Bengals to win and cover, even though the better in me likes to take the Ravens -3 or +3, just because I think that's a good spread. Because in this, I think everybody I've picked to win, I've picked to cover, except for the Bengals week 1. I picked the Steelers to cover that one, but the Bengals to win. But and I could likely see the bigger spreads against like the Panthers or the Falcons, backdoor cover here, backdoor cover there. But I'm going to take the Bengals to win and cover this just because of the fact I think we're going to split the Ravens, and I picked the Ravens to win the first one. So that is it, guys. I predicted the Bengals to go. I just realized I completely skipped the Bucs game. I'm an idiot. The game against the Buccaneers, since I'm so stupid, is on December 18th in Tampa. Tampa is -3.5 point favorites. I think the Bucs are going to be really good. That offense is going to be scary. I don't think Julio Jones is as big of a factor, but I think they're pretty much going to give him time off as much as he needs, really. So I think that's really favorable for them. So I think the Bucs are going to win and cover this. That defense is really good. This is going to be a game that's kind of going to test the Bengals a lot. So I kind of like that. I do think the Bucs are going to win and cover this game at 3.5. So with this, I do have the Bengals projected 11-6. That's right. I think, is that what they finished last year? I think it might have been. I kind of forgot what they ended last year with. Bengals were 10-7. Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely think 11-6 is super likely, super possible for the Bengals. I think a lot of these games could go either way. So a likely case scenario. So I had the Bengals losing Steelers, Titans, Chiefs, Browns, Bucs all consecutively, and then beating the Bills and Browns and Ravens off season. I think there's a possibility where you see the Bengals drop one or two of these games that I predicted earlier in the season that look to be easier games in my opinion, if we're being honest, but probably stealing one of these games that I think is going to be close with like Titans, Chiefs, Bucs, Browns, and Steelers. Honestly, the weeks 10 through 13, I think, and 14 are going to be really close games. Could be pick'ems, going to be toss-ups. So I'm just really excited for the season. I hope you guys like this. I am on vacation right now. I didn't even preface this with that. I'm recording this super in advance. This is August 5th when I'm recording, and I will post this. I don't even know what week, but the week of like the 14th, I think that's what it is. Yeah, that's going to be it, guys. Let me know what you think about my predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, peace out and stay safe.